Picture the scene from every survival documentary you've ever seen. A woman, alone in the wilderness, about to give birth, with no doctor, no hospital, nobody around her except the trees and whatever animal might be circling nearby. It feels ancient. It feels true. But look at the actual anthropological evidence, and that lone woman starts to disappear. So what really happened when a woman gave birth in the wild, long before modern medicine existed? The answer is stranger and far more human than the myth. Humans are unusual among primates. Chimpanzees, gorillas, and orangutans almost always give birth alone, quietly, often at night, tucked away from the rest of the group. Humans mostly don't. Across cultures and across history, it's rare for a woman to deliver a baby completely on her own. Solitary birth does happen sometimes, when labor moves faster than help can arrive, but researchers who study this call it uncommon. Something in our biology seems to push us toward needing each other at exactly that moment. Here's where the biology gets interesting. About 5 to 7 million years ago, our ancestors started walking upright, and that reshaped the entire human pelvis. Then, starting around 2 million years ago, hominin brains began growing dramatically larger. Put those two changes together, and you get a genuinely awkward design problem. The human birth canal isn't a straight tube. It twists, which means the baby has to rotate on the way out, and it typically emerges facing backward, away from the mother. That makes it hard for a woman to catch, clear, and untangle her own newborn in one motion, something apes generally manage alone just fine. Anthropologists Karen Rosenberg and Wenda Trevathan have argued this is exactly why getting help at birth became so deeply built into human behavior. Some researchers have gone so far as to suggest that midwifery, more than any other trade, might be humanity's oldest profession. Even today, obstructed labor accounts for roughly 12% of maternal deaths worldwide. That single act of getting help may be a survival adaptation millions of years older than modern medicine. Now, for decades, this idea was taught as settled fact, sometimes called the obstetrical dilemma. But science has since complicated the story. In 2011, researchers filming captive chimpanzee births found that chimp babies also rotate and emerge facing away from their mothers, the same pattern once thought to be uniquely human. In two of those cases, the mother chimps didn't even catch the newborn. It simply dropped into the nest, completely unharmed. But then, in 2012, biological anthropologist Holly Dunsworth proposed something different entirely, arguing that birth timing might be limited by a mother's metabolism rather than her pelvis. And in 2024, researchers found that chimpanzees face a surprisingly tight squeeze through their own birth canal too, not just humans. Scientists are still arguing over the exact mechanism. What they aren't arguing over is the pattern itself. Human mothers have reached out for help at the moment of birth, again and again, across cultures and across time. So what actually happened when a woman gave birth in the wild? In most cases, she almost certainly wasn't alone. Somebody was probably there, holding her, catching the baby, clearing its airway, keeping her calm through the worst of it. And that changes what this story is really about. It isn't a myth about a lone woman conquering nature through sheer grit. It's evidence of something else entirely. The moment our ancestors started relying on each other. Maybe before language. Maybe before tools. Almost certainly before anything we'd recognize as medicine. The instinct to step in and help a mother give birth might be one of the oldest cooperative behaviors in the human story. Survival in the wild was never really a solo act. It started as a group effort at the very first breath. That single fact might be one of the best clues we have for how our species made it this far. So next time you picture a mother alone in the wild, fighting nature by herself, remember what the evidence actually says. She probably had help nearby.